is up, fam? Welcome back to All Things Dope. I know it's been a while since we've had one of these talks, but it's definitely good to be back here. I want to jump into this movie review, Ghost in the Shell. It's definitely a good movie. I wouldn't say that it's a great movie, but it definitely had a lot of fun moments. There was a lot of great action in it, and visually it is stunning. Like, it is definitely a spectacle. If you have the opportunity to watch it in IMAX, I would recommend it. It's definitely a movie that I would recommend for IMAX, for 3D, because they do make some really good use of it. And the director, he has this very Fifth Element, Blade Runner, Matrix type of vibe going for him. So it works, and it works really well. I really love the use of all the color that's in this movie. Like, there's a lot of really cool elements of this whole anime world brought to life. And I can tell you, as a guy that watched Ghost in the Shell, he's probably like 13. It's been a while since I've seen it. I just remember that I liked it, and I did like it. It was definitely worth watching, like I said, but I didn't love it. There were some things that I didn't like about it, and I'll get to that later. But about the positives, right? I want to get into the good stuff. So the good stuff is the action is amazing. The use of Scarlett Johansson. I know that there was a lot of backlash about casting her, that they thought that the movie was being whitewashed, that it should have been an Asian American actress if they were going to go that route, or even just an Asian actress that played it. But she really did bring a whole new level of action to the movie. Like, all the other characters are great. They're all, to my personal knowledge, lesser known actors, but to be honest with you, they are amazing in their roles. Every single individual fits that role that they're supposed to play. But Scarlett Johansson, she does steal the show, as she should, right? She's the main title character. So the movie essentially is about this woman's brain that is taken from her body, that she's been told was destroyed for whatever reason, and they placed it in a shell to keep her alive, to keep her intact. And that's kind of where we pick up. We see her a year later, after she's learned to kind of control her body and get everything honed in, and she's working with this team of like super police, you could say. They are called Section 9, and they are skilled to handle all these different types of scenarios. So we get to see her in action. As she's going along, though, she's having these glitches, these flashbacks, if you will, to her real life. And so there's a bunch of different things that play on to get her back to her real life. And so it's really cool how it plays out. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, but it's definitely worth watching, like I said. Now, that being said, I kind of want to get into some negatives. Negative-wise, I love the aesthetic that they have for the movie. It does feel really cool. I really love the feel that they had. Of course, the original movie came out like in the 90s, like I want to say 96 is when the original movie came out. And there's a lot of that feel as far as visually of the anime world that they're in. And one of the dopest things is Batu's car. His car, it's based off an older Lotus model. And man, that looks so sick. It's like super retro but super futuristic at the same time. It almost feels like the DeLorean, and it's super dope. As far as the car goes, definitely really cool. And that's kind of the visual look of the film. Like, it has this old, like late 80s, early 90s future vibe. Like, it's really dystopian but really high tech at the same time. It's a beautiful blend of the two worlds, and I enjoyed every minute of it because it is grand spectacle and it looks really, really cool. I really like the look of this world that they're in. There's advertisements as huge as like Godzilla. There's an Adidas sign hanging around, so shout out to Adidas. Everybody's feeling that. Still feeling that in the future, so it's awesome. There are a few things that I wish were a little bit different. The biggest one to me personally is the dialogue. I wish the dialogue was cleaned up a little bit. I know that they probably took a lot of inspiration from the anime and kept everything nice and clean, but I feel like if you have the opportunity to remake something, right, because it's based off of Ghost in the Shell, it's not exactly Ghost in the Shell. So because it's based off of Ghost in the Shell, I think really you should take it and you should further that out, right? That the movie should be a better movie than what was made before. Because some of the things that worked back then, some of the themes that worked back then especially, don't necessarily work nowadays. Like, for instance, there's one part where there's a whole ton of wires hooked up to everybody. And that's understandable. That's kind of the whole thing, right? Behind robots and transferring data and everything like that. But we live in a wireless world now. And so it's kind of hard at some points to believe that all of this data, all this information is just being ran through this one single wire that anybody can just cut through. So I would have liked to see an update to that. I mean, I understand that there has to be some sort of link visually, but I think could have did just a tiny bit better job personally. Like I said, and the other big thing that wasn't there that I wanted more of was just action. I really wanted more action. I get that this is a Japanese crime, thriller, mystery, whatever you want to call it, and there's a lot of sci-fi elements in there. And that's awesome. All of that is awesome. But for me personally, what I got from the trailers was that there was going to be a little bit more action than what there actually was. And don't get me wrong, there's definitely a lot of action, there's definitely a lot of bullets, but I wanted to see more of the Section 9 team, which is the team that Major, the main character, works with. I wanted to see more of that action. I wanted to see more of her going in and doing work on cats, just like taking dudes out left and right. And there are moments, there are flashes where that happens. And when it happens, it's awesome, but there are some moments that do drag, and I wish that there were more action spots to fill it. Like maybe something like a little bit bigger car chase, more guns flying around. Something would have been better than just these empty spots of, them kind of telling the story and kind of keep repeating it. I mean, we get it, right? We as the audience, we understand this is what's supposed to be happening now, and this is the quest that we're taking. But in that time, in these little gaps of time, give us something to look out for, give us some action to keep that flavor going. But other than that, guys, I mean, really, I enjoyed the movie. I had a great time with it. It's something that I liked, but I didn't love. And because I didn't love it, I can't score it a little bit higher. So for me personally, originally when I talked to other people, they were giving it 8. I had another person give it a 7, 7.5. For me, I'm going to give it, this is going to sound crazy, but I'm going to give it like a 6.8. And the only reason why was because I felt like there was a couple of missed opportunities with the action and the score. I feel like the music is a big part to me. I feel like there's a great music track to some of these action sequences, and they weren't bad, but they weren't anything memorable. I wish there would have been just a little bit more flavor, like the trailer that we got for the Ghost in the Shell trailer. That song, the All I Ever Wanted song, that song would have been dope in the moment where they use it. That would have been perfect. But they didn't use it. And the marketing team, they did a great job with the trailer because they sold me on the movie. But, if they could have just inserted that, right? I mean, it's not the exact version of that song, so I'm sure they could have got it for the cheap. But, just little flavors of pop. Because, really, this movie is pretty anime pop culture, right? Like, as an anime movie, Ghost in the Shell is one of the dopest anime movies that you can watch, especially if you're brand new to the anime world. I'd recommend it. Now, this movie is definitely a hard R, so kids, be careful. There's not a lot of blood flying around, I would say, but there are some themes and some craziness that does happen, so just watch yourself on that. But guys, that's my short review on Ghost in the Shell. If you can watch it in IMAX, definitely watch it in IMAX. If not, wait for a Tuesday. If this is not really your thing, if you're not really into anime movies, then maybe wait, you know what I mean? I'm not saying you have to be subscribed to Crunchyroll or anything like that to be able to take full advantage of all this goodness that is Ghost in the Shell, but you should definitely check it out. If you have dabbled in anime, I think you'll like the movie. I really do. If you like action sci-fi, I think you'll enjoy the movie. But this is definitely not for the faint of heart. I would say there are some moments where it does drag down, but it picks back up. So for me, it's definitely something I'm happy that I watched. I enjoyed it. It's definitely something that I would recommend to action fans if you're really into that. It's not a bootleg anime movie like Dragon Ball Evolution that was terrible garbage. This one actually makes sense, and it does have the same flavor of the original anime movie. So definitely check it out if you're into that. But anyways, guys, my name is Chris Vargas, and I'm out.